Hello and welcome or welcome back. Let's do some more prose fiction today, and I'm Miss Athalie, very happy to help you. Today's passage is taken from the May-June 2019 paper 1, and we are looking at items 51 to 60. Helpful tip from wise teachers everywhere: read the passage at least 3 times. Read it twice, then read the questions. Read the passage again. I will read it once, but please read again before answering the questions. After I read each question, I'll pause to give you some time to come up with the answer. Then I'll reveal the answer and we'll move on. If you would like to debate any answer, we can also do so in the comments. So let's go. The green blazer stood out under the bright sun and blue sky. In all that jostling crowd, one could not help noticing it. The babble of the marketplace was there, but above it all, the green blazer seemed to cry out an invitation. Raju could not ignore it. It was not in his nature to ignore such a persistent invitation. He sat on a stack of cast-off banana stalks beside a shop awning and watched the crowd. When he watched the crowd, he did it with concentration. Constitutionally, he was an idler and had just the amount of energy to watch in a crowd and put his hand into another person's pocket. It was a gamble, of course. Sometimes he got nothing out of a venture. Sometimes he picked up a fountain pen. What Raju loved most was a nice, bulging purse. If he saw one, he picked it up with the greatest deftness. He took the cash in it, flung it far away, and went home with the satisfaction that he had done his day's job well. He bought sweets, books, and slates for his children, and occasionally a jacket piece for his wife too. Raju jumped down from the banana stack and followed the green blazer, always keeping himself 3 steps behind. Raju waited patiently, pretending to be examining some rolls of rush mat, while the green blazer spent a considerable length of time drinking a coconut at a nearby booth. Raju saw the other take out his black purse and start a debate with the coconut seller over the price of the coconuts. He had a thick, sawing voice which disconcerted Raju. It sounded like the growl of a tiger. The way the other haggled didn't appeal to Raju either. It showed a mean and petty temperament. Too much fondness for money. The green blazer stopped before a stall flying colored balloons. He bought a balloon after an endless argument with the shopman, a further demonstration of his meanness. He said, "This is for a motherless boy. I have promised it to him. If it bursts or gets lost before I go home, he will cry all night." Raju got his chance when the other passed through a narrow stile where people were passing to see a wax model of Mahatma Gandhi reading a newspaper. 15 minutes later, Raju was examining the contents of the purse. He went away to a secluded spot behind a disused well. The purse contained 10 rupees in coins and 20 in currency notes and a few annas in nickel. Raju tucked the annas at his waist in his loincloth. Must give them to some beggars, he reflected generously. Now the purse lay limp within the hollow of his hand. It was only left for him to fling it into the well. The well had a little shallow water at the bottom. The purse might float, and a floating purse could cause the worst troubles on earth. He opened the purse in order to fill it with pebbles before drowning it. Now through the slit at its side, he saw a balloon folded and tucked away. He remembered the others' talk about the motherless child. What a fool to keep this in the purse, Raju reflected. It is the carelessness of parents that makes young ones suffer, he ruminated angrily. Raju almost sobbed at the thought of the disappointed child. That motherless boy must have his balloon at any cost, Raju decided. But how? The balloon could not be handed back. The thing to do would be to put it back into the empty purse and slip it into the other's pocket. The green blazer was watching the heckling going on as the Bible preacher warmed up to his subject. Raju slided up to the green blazer. The purse with the balloon only tucked into it was in his palm. He'd slip it back into the other's pocket. Raju realized his mistake in a moment. The green blazer caught hold of his arm and cried, "Pickpocket!" The hecklers lost interest in the Bible and turned their attention to Raju, who tried to look appropriately outraged. He cried, "Let me go!" The other, without giving a clue to what he proposed, shot out his arm and hit him on the cheek. It almost blinded him. And this is from R.K. Narayan, Trail of the Green Blazer. So let's proceed to the questions. Remember, please read it again before answering with me, unless you've done this before and you just want to check your answers. Otherwise, we can do this together. So, number 51, the function of the setting in this extract is to A. Highlight that events and experiences portrayed in the passage are unrealistic. B. Reveal that mood reflects the emotional tumult experienced by the green blazer. C. Suggest that characters struggle with a hostile and deceptive natural environment. D. Show that physical and social circumstances influence action, character, and conflict. I'm going to pause for 5 seconds before I reveal the answer, but then you can just pause the video if you would like to go back to the passage or read the question again before you select your answer. The correct answer is D. Show that physical and social circumstances influence action, character, and conflict. 52. The best explanation for the inclusion of Raju bought sweets, books, and slates for his children, and occasionally a jacket piece for his wife too, lines 11 to 12, is to A. Create suspense and to utilize flashback. B. Reveal character and to give information. C. Illustrate important moments in Raju's past. D. Foreshadow events to be delivered at the last minute. Our answer is B. Reveal character and to give information. 53. What is the dominant image used to portray Raju's trail of the green blazer? A. Hunting. B. Stealing. C. Gambling. D. Preaching. And that one is a giveaway. The key word here is trail. The answer is hunting. He follows this man like a wild animal hunting for his prey. And what's the prey? The money. 54. Which of the following techniques is used by the writer in the development of the green blazer's character? A. Persona. B. Flashback. C. Caricature. D. Pantomime. C. Caricature. And if you're not sure what that is, it is a drawing or description of someone that exaggerates their appearance or behavior in a humorous or critical way. So in this passage, the green blazer is exaggerated. 55. The writer uses Raju's thoughts, keyword thoughts, to reveal that he is A. Mean and impractical. B. Opportunistic and wily. C. Generous and fond of money. D. Hypocritical and an idler by nature. C. Generous and fond of money. And we want to focus on his thoughts, right? So in line 27, when he gets the little coins, he said, must give them to some beggars. He reflected generously. So this thief wants to give back to those who have less than he does. And then when he finds the balloon, Raju almost sobbed at the thought of the disappointed child. So his thoughts are reflecting that he is generous. But still he is fond of money. That's why he's stealing. 56. Which of the following critical incidents advances the plot in this extract? A. Purchasing the balloon for the motherless child. B. Following the green blazer throughout the market. C. Stealing the purse that belongs to the green blazer. D. Returning the purse of the green blazer with the balloon inside. The answer is D. Returning the purse. Now, some might say, why not stealing the purse? So let's look at the typical outline of the plot, right? So you know that every plot has the exposition, conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. What would you say is the climax in this story? The peak of action and conflict. Is it when he steals the purse, or is it when he gives it back? I would say when he gives it back. That is when everything goes crazy. And then after that point, you can see that the story quickly comes to an end. So you have this incident, then all the chaos that happens after, and then he gets slapped across the face. So I would say that answer is D, when he attempts to give that balloon back to the man. 57. The narrative point of view used in the story best demonstrates that the narrator is A. A character with a limited view. B. A character unlimited by boundaries of time and space. C. Confined by the experience of a particular character. D. Shifting from one viewpoint to the next, conveying a many-faceted vision. And remember, we're focusing on the narrator, not Raju. The answer is C, confined by the experience of a particular character. We only are able to know Raju's thoughts, his experiences. We don't know what the man in the green blazer is thinking. We don't know what the people in the marketplace are thinking. We don't know much about them. So that narrator is confined by the experience of Raju. Next, 58. The writer's tone can best be described as A. Critical, B. Mocking, C. Judgmental, D. Dispassionate. Our answer here is dispassionate. And the definition, in case you're not sure what that means, not influenced by strong emotion and so able to be rational and impartial. We don't really know what that writer thinks of Raju, do we? He's just recalling the incident, informing us of his thoughts, but we don't really know whether he dislikes this behavior. He's just commenting on it. 59. What devices has the writer used in the development of the narrative and its outcome? A. Irony and humor. B. Paradox and satire. C. Allusion and parody. D. Sarcasm and allegory. Now, sometimes when you get a tricky question like this, it's much easier if you eliminate the answers that are just not correct, the options that are not correct, sorry. So we know it can't be allusion or parody, so C is out. D, sarcasm and allegory, that doesn't really make sense. So the two choices would be between A and B. However, in my opinion, and this can be rather subjective, sometimes these multiple choice questions can be quite tricky. I don't really get the humor here. I am just like seeing all these events happen in my head and nothing strikes me as funny. Although it doesn't matter whether or not I find it funny, what matters is whether or not the writer wanted it to be. And I really just don't get that sense. Now, I've read that in the entire short story, because this is just an excerpt, in the entire short story, there is an element of humor there, but we were not given that entire short story. So I would go with B, paradox and satire. Why? So I will explain. Paradox, having seemingly contradictory qualities or phases, right? So we have a generous thief, a thief who returns things to their owners. That is a paradox. Those are contradictory qualities. Then where is the satire? So satire can be defined as the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices. In this case, we are not exposing stupidity, but we're exposing vices. Whose vices? The man in the green blazer. He is a seemingly wealthy man who tries to haggle with poor people. And I believe that the writer is using satire to bring attention to that. But this happens quite a lot. So this man in his lovely green blazer wants to haggle with the coconut vendor so he can pay less for a coconut. He wants to haggle with the person selling the balloon. And then when Raju actually stole that purse, he found that, the man had money. Why was he haggling with people who probably have less than he does? So I'm going here with paradox and satire. But you're free to debate this in the comments. 60. Which of the following are possible themes of this extract? 1. Life is simultaneously comic and sad. 2. Greedy people living beyond their means provoke tragedy. 3. Necessity is the mother of invention and innovation. And we are going with D here, 1, 2, and 3. But again, we can also debate this one. Easy, right? If not, keep at it. Keep doing those multiple choice past paper questions. And I'm pretty sure that when you get your test, it's going to be much easier for you. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer. See you next time.